Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Future of E-commerce fireside chat or couchside chat. I don't know what we call it now, but my name is Megan Conahan, and I'm joined by two e-commerce marketers, Amanda Stone and Daniel Owen. And today we're going to be discussing kind of the quickly changing landscape of e-commerce and retail in the face of COVID-19. So before we get started, though, I do want to do a quick round of intros. I'll start. My name is Megan Conahan, and I'm EVP here at Direct Agents. I have about 14 years experience in marketing, and one of my main focuses has really been on supporting our e-commerce brands at Direct Agents.
I guess I will. My name is Daniel Owen, also EVP at Direct Agents. I work a lot with our paid media services, a lot of Amazon, paid search, SEO analytics around those areas, and really trying to help customers drive acquisition, drive whatever it might be that they're looking for in terms of their goals.
All right, and thank you. I'm Amanda Stone. I specialize in leading mostly consumer brands in their Amazon businesses, e-commerce, and e-tail, wherever applicable. Most recently, I was leading the partnership between 23andMe and Amazon. Also have experience Kenmore appliances and global accounts such as Bang & Olufsen and Belkin, and excited to join today.
Awesome. So before we get started, just a quick note. If you do have questions, just type them into that little Q&A box. And if we have time, we'll get to them at the end. If not, we can always email you responses. So yeah, let's get started. The first thing I guess I wanted to talk to you guys about first and foremost is kind of the split that you're seeing now between Amazon.com, retail, and other distributors. Obviously, we all went into 2020 thinking we knew what that breakdown would be, and COVID obviously really smashed that to pieces. And obviously with in-store being such a huge portion of total sales for a lot of brands, that's kind of gone up in smoke. So, what was the expected breakdown? What are you seeing happen now? Kind of where will things really shake out when you look at that kind of market share?
Yeah, I guess I can start. So I think it depends if you're talking about spend or sales. I think going into 2020, for most retailers and most clients that we're seeing, Amazon was likely about 200%, right, of sales compared to website sales, DTC or .com sales, with other channels filling in as well. Now it really depends on your category that you're in from what we're seeing, right? I think the changes in Amazon with their warehousing, inventory, issues like that have really caused delays for a lot of different types of categories and industries where they are now seeing a big pickup on .com. They're seeing a big pickup on Target, Walmart if they sell there, and other types of retailers where they may be selling there. Conversely, there are some really big pickups if you have inventory on Amazon. A lot of these essential products are seeing 50 to 100% lift today on Amazon. So, it really depends, I think, is how it breaks down today. But, for clients that do still have inventory on Amazon and do have ship times of, let's say, less than 5 days, full speed, their advertising is going full speed, even shifting a lot of the offline sales onto Amazon. Their ads, have super high conversion rates these days because basically, the offline sales previously was about 80%, right? And Amazon retail online was maybe 20%. So all of that is trying to go online today, and it's causing a huge surge for really products in all different categories, but as well as in all different types of distribution channels.
Yeah, and just to echo some of the data points there, I was most recently came from the business of 23andMe, where the direct-to-consumer site was actually the biggest part of the business. And we would see increases in places like Amazon when customers are really looking for that efficiency, that 1 to 2 day delivery. And being a non-essential product, that's not going to be happening on Amazon, and there would be declining there now. But really where the opportunity there is in these other marketplaces like Walmart's and Target's, where you're seeing this growth. So where brands have maybe been apprehensive to engage with other partners or retailers or marketplaces, I think there's a big opportunity there for brands to very easily set up and really meet the customers where they're shopping. There's maybe been a convenience factor of only wanting to shop on Amazon. And as the shift is happening and that's really declining, customers are still going to want the products or the brands that they're looking for. And so it's important to be communicative on your direct-to-consumer website. We're seeing a lot of growth and traffic, I think, across the board with brands and people engaging on D2C, and then engaging in marketplaces where maybe you have not been present prior, because those growth avenues are happening.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and you both touched on it, that we're really seeing, like, if Amazon is struggling to keep up with orders and demand, people are just saying, like, well, I want this product, so I'll buy it on .com, I'll go to Walmart, I'll go to Best Buy, and we're seeing really big upticks for a lot of the brands that we work with in those other categories, and e-com having sometimes record efficiency now because there's really no other place to purchase it. So it has been a very, like, crazy kind of time. I guess, one thing that I'm kind of curious about, what your thoughts are and your predictions, is that obviously everyone knows that COVID-19 is going to drastically affect consumer behavior, right? I think what we don't know is exactly how and to exactly what extent. So when you even look down the road at like 2021, right? What does that look like? Are we going back to more or less business as usual, where retail and in-store is still such a huge chunk? Or has this really shifted consumer behavior to say, okay, online is now where we do everything? What do you guys think, or what do you see? Do you think we'll fall in the middle? Like, what's that thought process going on from a marketing standpoint?
Yeah, I think there's going to be probably a little bit of a pent-up demand for retail in some way, kind of that excitement of going to a store again, touching and feeling a product, socializing, that we'll certainly probably see right as certain stay-at-home orders are lifted. But what we'll see in the meantime is an increase in just comfort level of shopping online. So maybe you have been an online shopper, but you have been resistant in certain categories to online shop. And now that's been required. So you're more comfortable buying certain items online that you weren't before. The US has really trailed a lot of other global economies in grocery online, for example. And that is just absolutely booming right now. So I think while people will still want to go to the store, and there'll be kind of a coming back to that, maybe not as much if you are now comfortable with how the grocery delivery services have been going. So I do think that there will still be some sustained growth in places. I think grocery and categories that have been lagging in some of the regular e-commerce growth. And then still a desire to return to stores in some places. So I think the omni-channel strategy in a lot of ways will still be really important, while making sure that your e-commerce is clear and logistically efficient.
Yeah, I think if you weren't in the digital age before for any reason, now you're going to be, right? I think this is going to be kind of the last bar for anyone to get into the digital age, shop online, and really discover what all the resources are online, right? Which conversely also is the opportunity for companies, right, to really be able to hit that consumer need, and the efficiency of getting products to a consumer, the convenience of the consumer getting products delivered to them, and just being able to find the right product at the right time, right place, it is now more paramount than ever, right? So I think that'll develop, really across the industry. If anyone is not there today as a seller or as a media or brand part of this, they're really going to start, innovating in that area, right? And the long-term effect, I think that there will be a lot of long-term effect. I think that as much as the pent-up demand, it will be there for sure. And I still think that a lot of it's going to go digitally, because that's what consumers are used to, right? And now we're even creating more of a reason to do it just digitally. So I do think that, and even Amazon, I think themselves are creating changes in consumer behavior today, which is kind of not good for them. They have so much demand that a lot of consumers are not happy shopping there today. right? They are not getting the products that they need in time. No one wants to see May 15th as a delivery date to buy, I don't know, scissors or something like that, right? Which is crazy. And what that's causing now is a discovery of all the other retailers out there, right? We're discovering brand sites. We're discovering, you know, if you never bought online for Walmart, Overstock, eBay, whatever it might be, you might be trying it out now, right? Because if it has shorter delivery times and anything's better than a month out, you're going to do that. So it's really causing a huge change in consumer behaviors. And that also creates opportunities for all those brands, right? Those brands to really speak to their consumers, to all the people that are visiting their sites today. This is why, and today, it really is, in a way, a make or break time for many brands online. And the opportunities that come through to it. But, you know, I think we can get into that in a little bit, and I'll leave it there for now.
Yeah, and I think it will be very interesting. Amanda, one of the points you made is, you know, people are still going to want to go to stores, and I kind of wonder if the in-store experience is going to go more to like the experiential aspect versus like the just purchase, buy, this is where I like get the products that I need. It's a place where you can go and feel and touch and really kind of engage with the brand, but then you rely on e-com or Amazon or Walmart for the actual purchase. It'll be, I think, very, very interesting.
Right.
You
Yeah, I
know,
think with like kind of any, as I was just going to add, with any industry and disruption, it really is the innovators that will win. So, you know, the retailers that do want to succeed are the ones that are going to provide that excellent customer experience in store. The brands that want to remain online are going to continue to provide the excellent customer experience online. So it's certainly an industry that was already in disruption pre-COVID-19 and is just even more forced, I think, to innovate now.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, that kind of takes me to the next topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about, which is, you know, obviously COVID-19 has created a lot of challenges for marketers and for e-commerce marketers, but you're also really finding some brands stepping up and capitalizing on this opportunity and this time we're in right now. So for you guys, what are you seeing as some of the largest challenges for e-commerce or retail marketers, as well as what are the biggest opportunities that you're seeing either people take advantage of or you haven't really seen a brand take advantage of yet, but it's kind of something that you've been thinking about?
I guess I can go first. Okay, sure. So challenges for brands. I mean, there's a lot today, right? And it really is industry specific too. If you
Yeah.
are in a non-essential today, and if you are a big brick and mortar store company, you've got a lot of people just sitting idle, right? Or you've probably, you know, put in some policies there. But you know, that is a big portion of what's going on today. The supply chain has been very uncertain, right? I mean, and a lot of them have been wrecked, I want to say, but they're coming back online. And then there's a lot of inventory issues, right? And getting those into the right place. Delivery, honestly, it seems, if you're using the standard carriers, it seems to be quicker than ever because I feel like there's just no traffic on the streets today. So you can get packages once they're processed and shipped quicker than before. So, you know, as a marketer though, it really presents, you know, are you able to market first? I think is the very first thing, right? Do you have everything there that's needed so that when you do, let's say for distribution of products and selling products, is that ready? But aside from that, I think that you know, marketers have to also now turn their attention to what is it that, as a full marketer, right, as a communication specialist, what is it that we need to be doing at this time? And that's where I think the real opportunities for brands today. You know, there's a huge opportunity to build brand loyalty right now, right? To let your customers know what your brand is doing, you know, and to address COVID, both internally, you know, with your employees, with your products, whatever it might be, as well as especially with consumers, and maybe what you're doing to push messages out, because brands hold so much messaging and brand presence, right? Messaging power. And that, you know, and at times where it's not always so certain that of what we're getting from the government, it's really important for the brand to take that position as well, right? And then they can really then portray a reliability, you know, a brand that is going to be there for you, compassion and things like that. And that really builds the brand loyalty for where consumers are really going to remember your brand after this, right? And they're going to have more favorability to purchase from your brand after the fact.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the challenges, as you mentioned, are endless, and in a lot of ways, the opportunities, are kind of the same as hopefully they've always been. It's an opportunity, I think, to evaluate your ad efficiency.
Mhm.
How are you communicating to your customers what's working and what's not? And the beauty of digital commerce is that it was always like that. You always had your data points. You could always test things kind of quickly and cheaply, pivot, adjust. And definitely agree with the building a brand loyalty piece. I think that a lot of shopper behavior was previously retailer specific. So you liked the convenience of Amazon, and if that brand wasn't on Amazon, maybe you picked a different brand. But now people are really going to be searching for the brands and have a bigger comfort level in going more broad across, whether purchasing on a direct website or browsing multiple online marketplaces to get the brands and the products that they want. So I think a brand's ability to communicate not only what they're doing for their customers, communicating you're open for business, you can buy my products and this is where, but also how they're treating their employees. I think that there's a lot of kind of humanity involvement right now, and what are companies and brands doing to keep their employees paid or with jobs, or how are they pivoting their businesses to support workers on the front lines, keeping us safe. And so big opportunities. I think a speaker mentioned this morning, transitioning advertising to marketing. So maybe it's not so much of the advertising dollars or the conversion focus metrics, but those bigger, as long as they're authentic, those bigger messages that you can be conveying to your customers.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I know exactly what you're talking about because I was watching that session too, and I wrote it down. I was like, that is so very important. And that kind of brings me to the other thing I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper with you guys, which is that communication message, right? So like there are some brands that have gone completely dark almost because they're frozen, right? They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. And, I think the three of us would probably agree that that is a mistake. So, I'd really be interested to hear from you guys on what you would recommend, right? How should brands be communicating, right? Like, is it like a sales focused message now? Is it a purchase message now? Or is it more of that brand, or how does that mix kind of play out? Like, what do people want to hear? What are people responding to? Like, what would be the right thing to do from an e-commerce or retail brand perspective right now? Because you obviously have to keep the lights on. You have to create sales and demand for your product, but you also don't want to be insensitive, So what is that mix?
So one thing, I mean, a lot of components to that question, but if you have, for example, idle salespeople or things like that, right? I mean, this is a time where if you can provide one-to-one interaction with your consumers, you're just going to be that much stronger ahead, right? To letting know consumers that you are open, that you are shipping, what your ship times might be, and things like that, and anything else, right? That's happening with, in the environment that we're in. But that may be one possible reuse of roles. But in terms of what messaging that a company should be giving, I mean, it has to be authentic, right? So that really ties into what your brand is, what your brand message, brand history, and things like that. But there's a lot of things that I think brands could be doing right now. They could be educating the public through their awareness, in terms of what they're doing or what they should be doing. They could be educating in terms of maybe how they're repositioning their product factories, right? Are they helping with the COVID response, creating masks or whatever it might be? Are they maybe working in volunteer areas and things like that? To the consumer, they can also be discounting products, right? I mean, this is a time where there's a lot of people that aren't going to be doing so well, and they can definitely use those things. Use that compassion and especially if monetarily. Yeah, I mean, other than that, everyone's also isolated right now, right? So if you can use your community and bring that into a new community that is at a time where everyone's isolated, I think that that could be a very, very strong message as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, I think, category specific and brand specific in terms of what you can do, but certainly still the tone of authenticity and what aligns with your products. I was thinking of some examples of, we were talking to a brand who is a pasta maker, and so now posting recipes, so kind of now are you a go-to for other content consumption beyond just the product itself. So I think that gets really specific to what the brand is and what your message is, but something I think everyone should be doing is kind of evaluating their digital footprint. So what can you be doing for free? How can you be maximizing your images that you have on Amazon or Walmart? Are your content bullet points updated? Is your SEO really strong? So those are all the kind of just the easy low-hanging fruit that maybe take this time to evaluate if the marketing budgets aren't as high. And then on top of that, is the content differentiated based on the platform? So maybe in the past you would launch campaigns broadly and not in kind of evergreen, but so now is the content speaking to the current time? Is your social differentiated from your PPC ads? How are you communicating with your customer? Exactly where they are, because it's a captive audience right now. People are looking for things to be delivered to them, to be distracted, for entertainment. It really is a captive audience. So something that everyone should be doing, I think, is just kind of really evaluating how they're communicating with their customers, and are they putting their best foot forward in every moment.
Yeah, and Amanda, you're totally right. I mean, we're seeing kind of record inventory levels, record low CPMs, and it just becomes much more efficient. And for a lot of our e-commerce brands, are having some record sales days because they are doing it right. People still need the products that they need. We've been in this new normal for, feels like forever, but maybe only a handful of weeks. And we're getting back to like, okay, well, we need to still live our lives, and there are still things that we were in market for, and just making sure you're communicating that really well and authentically. I think that's a really, really great point. So we have, and I also think the other kind of like interesting thing is that SEO portion. I think we actually have a session on it at 4:30 about monitoring share of voice as well, because that is something that all brands can do right now, even if marketing dollars or budget for advertising is cut. Like you said, going back to advertising versus marketing, there's still a lot that brands can be doing. The last question that I had for you, or the last thing I really wanted to get from you, is kind of what would be your one recommendation for a brand at this time, right? Like we're finding a lot of brands ask us this, what is the one thing I can do? What is the, one recommendation? What is the one piece of advice you'd give me? What would be that thing that you guys would say to an e-commerce brand right now?
Have a marketing communication COVID strategy. I think that needs to be cohesive against, around the whole company, to the consumers internally and things like that as well. I think brands have they have a large role to play during this time, right? And there's tremendous impact that we can be making to the public as a brand.
Mm-hmm. I would say to embrace your strength, what makes you unique in the market. And if you haven't identified that before, what a great time to do that, and really go deep there. So what makes you unique? What is your strength? And then I'll cheat and add a second one, is just to be where your customers are shopping. So if you've had an exclusive Amazon business before, an exclusive direct-to-consumer business before, an exclusive marketplace, Walmart business before, your customers are not only just shopping there today. So really meet your customers where they are.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's one of the things that we are talking about with our brands internally is a lot of brands may be launching only on Amazon in the past, might not think that is a viable strategy anymore with everything that's going on. If you're only in store, I think it's people are going to be doing a lot of reevaluating going into the rest of this year. And I think there are going to be a lot of big pivots made. Okay, wonderful. So we have about 5 minutes left before our next session on the future of entertainment. So if there are any questions, please feel free to chat them and we'll do our best to answer what we can in the next couple minutes.
Yep. Well, looks like that's it. And I know we have to, I'm getting a message to wrap up because we
Yeah.
have 4 more people on the next one too. So we'll get ready for that.
Hopefully you guys can stick with us for a couple of the upcoming sessions. Like I mentioned, Future of Entertainment is next, followed by a couple of great ones in SEO and wrap up. So thank you so much for joining us. Amanda and Daniel, thank you guys so much. And we'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Megan. Thank you, everyone.